To be truthful, this wasn't meant to be the first video uploaded on this channel, but I feel like I needed to make this. I never thought I'd make a video like this, at least not this early, but this video simply asks a question. How does one be a good friend? It would seem like a simple question to answer, and in many ways it is, but it's not something I often thought about, so today I'd like to change that. One of the best ways to answer a question is with an example, so today I would like you to meet Simon. Simon and I met in high school. We were in the same year level, and I don't think we really shared many classes together, but he and I knew each other through mutual friends, and for the most part, he was a friend to me. We talked as often as we could when we passed each other in the lockers or in the school fields, especially during breaks, you know? Well, firstly, he was probably one of the goofiest guys I've ever met. My first impressions of him were that he was a class clown, a jester, but in the best ways. He never did anything too crazy, nor was he seen as annoying. Just your typical, appreciated, chill, funny guy. He was loved by many, and he had a lot of friends, and even if he didn't think that, we all did. Overall, he came off as one of those guys that were truly living in the moment. A laid-back kind of guy, you know? He never seemed to be overly cautious about the future, but honestly, it was kind of refreshing. I think one of Simon's best qualities was that he was always generous. He and I always shared food throughout high school, and he was known to put together a lot of barbecues. He loved being behind the grill. He never excluded anyone in anything. He was always down to meet up and chill, and that's why we all loved him. Even though he and I were never close, we never shared a bad moment. Not a single one. Throughout all of high school and our 2 trips together after, nothing but laughter was shared. And his laughter was absurdly contagious, and in my opinion, the world really needs more people like him. The last time we meaningfully spoke together, he asked if I wanted to join him for a quick drive to his family's house to pick up some spring rolls for a party, and of course I obliged. In the car, we exchanged updates on our lives. He told me how he was finding full-time work physically exhausting, but accomplishing. He finally got his own car, he had a girlfriend now, and he was planning on driving up to see her more often. Overall, he sounded like he was, well, getting his future sorted, and it was nice to hear. Really. He sounded happy. So, to finally answer the question, I think a good friend doesn't have to be the closest of friends. A good friend is someone you can always rely on to feel safe and comfortable to be around, and to always exchange some sort of laughter. Simon taught me that. Simon passed away on the 23rd of November, 2022. I won't go into details of how it happened, but it wasn't natural causes. A lot of mistakes were made, and with no other way to put it, it was a tragedy. When I first heard the news, I didn't know what to think. I thought at first, surely this is a sick joke. But when I heard the sadness in the voice of the friend who told me over the phone, I knew this was real. This is real life. Somehow. The idea of a world without Simon, it kinda messed me up. Thank you, Simon. Thank you for being a good friend. Getting to know you is one of my greatest privileges. Strangely enough, I was recently telling my friend about how relieved I was about one small thing. A year ago, I was debating on whether or not I should delete my old YouTube channel. It's not crazy, just a bunch of silly gaming montages and funny moments of my friends and I playing Counter-Strike, Minecraft, etc. but I'm so glad I didn't delete it because some of those videos had Simon in it. So now, if anyone wanted to hear his voice, his laughter, we could. Another small thing I remember was how he was strangely obsessed with a gun in Counter-Strike called the AWP. It's basically a sniper, but the funny thing was that even though he loved using it, he missed almost every shot, which never failed to make us laugh. It's at times like these that I'm reminded why I decided to become a photographer. To preserve memories. And why did I become a filmmaker? Because I love telling stories. And this video is my personal tribute to Simon. A memory of him, if you will. Because even though the human memory is flawed, photos and videos are, well, forever. The truth is, maybe I'm making this video to cope with the loss. Even if no one is able to watch this, I still would make it. For my own sanity. I guess, in a way, I'm trying to make up for not spending enough time with him. For not texting hi more often. I know it won't work. But this is just how I'm feeling. I don't know. If there was one quite good thing about him passing, is that shortly after the news, me and the boys put together a meetup to just throw one last barbecue. You know, to remember him. We went to the beach, which Simon loved to go to, and to my surprise, a lot of people showed up. People I haven't seen in years. While we were all deeply saddened that day, I couldn't help but feel nostalgic to see some familiar faces. It sucks that the only reason we saw each other again was because of such a tragic event, but it was a good evening nonetheless. I love you guys. And even though I don't speak for him, I'm pretty sure Simon did too. Because we all love him. If you're watching this right now, try and make plans with a friend you haven't heard from in a while. Or even just say hi, and let them know that you miss them and appreciate them. Because it is truly now that I see that any one of us could go, at any moment, without warning. On the way back home from the beach, as I was alone, it started to rain. Immediately, I thought of the stereotype where, during a sad part of a movie or story, it rains. And usually, in funeral scenes, it pours. But it didn't rain heavily that evening. It was a calm trickle of rain, almost as if the universe itself was matching my emotions. Yes, I was deeply sad, but also content, knowing that many people also felt the same love and appreciation for Simon. So, while it may seem unusual, I was really happy that it rained that evening. There's so much I want to say right now, but I don't want to bore you guys with a 10-hour documentary, so I will end with this. The truth is, grief is something that never truly goes away. Yeah, it can fade, but it never goes completely. And one part about grief that isn't talked about a lot is that when someone passes away, you immediately think of all the other people you have lost as well. It's tough, I know. Everyone will experience grief eventually, and we all deal with it in our own way, but all I ask is that you take care of yourself. All of you. There's this saying that gets passed around, and it changes a little every time it is said, but they say that you die twice. Once when you stop breathing, and the second when somebody mentions your name for the last time. I think it's important to keep talking about those we've lost, to remember the good times and the memories. Every time I'm at a barbecue, I will think of him. Every time I hear an AWP shot, I will think of him. Every time I think of the boys closest to him, I will think of him. We all miss you, Simon. You will always be a legend. Rest well.